April 23rd, 4 p.m. I call this meeting to order. Everybody here, we got everybody in attendance. Play for work. Everybody here. Frank, you got that in the minutes there?
One more.
Our first order will be an appointment of a new chairman. So I will open the floor up for nominations for a chairman of each of,
I nominate Terry.
have a nomination, Ms. Reed. I
I'll
have a second. I have a second by Tim Brown. Mr. Hirschman, you okay with that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. So,
Congratulations.
congratulations, Mr. Hirschman. You are now the chairman of this.
If you want me to go ahead and take over then?
You go right ahead.
All right, if I'm, we need to go ahead and have a, are you gonna be able to still stand in as vice chair?
I will, if,
And do we need to go ahead and do a new motion to have that done? Or do we have to do that
To
again?
retain
To
the
retain him as
chair, the vice chair, no, you wouldn't have to
Okay,
have a
because
motion.
you're still good.
Yeah.
And who's our secretary?
Mr. Watkins.
Okay, good deal. So we're good to go. So I need a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
I think we have a
I
modification.
want to.
Sorry.
Hopefully you guys, somebody will move to amend this agenda to add the, letter, hoping the sheriff would be here to present this. It's, this was on the agenda for our last meeting, got took off, or the meeting before. Sorry about that, but, this is just a formality that we need to move through this committee regarding the acquisition of the Air Force property that we're trying to get to, construct and develop as a Coffee County governmental campus. So does everybody have a copy of that letter?
Yes.
Okay.
It's in this
Okay.
packet.
Okay.
Yep.
So if somebody would move to amend
be in
to
the back
add
of the
that
packet.
item on the agenda, I would appreciate it.
Motion to amend under new business.
I second that to amend it.
So we have a motion and seconding to approve the agenda as modified. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All in favor, say aye, everybody. Okay.
Thank
we
you
need-
for that.
We'll need a motion to approve the previous minutes. It's in your second page.
Are we approving 2-1 and 404?
I believe that's correct. Is that not right, Dennis?
Yeah, 2-1's already been approved.
Yeah, I wonder why it was in here. I'll make a motion to approve 4/4/24 minutes.
Second,
Been made by Tina.
I second that.
Jimmy. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. We have any public comments? Public comments, anybody? Seeing none, let's move on. Unfinished business, we need to talk about the animal shelter first, or you wanna go on from there? Are you here?
Aaron,
Aaron, you're here to.
Can you
present.
speak to the progress on that, please?
Yes, sir, I can. Unless Craig wants to steal the spotlight, he's more than welcome to.
Turn his mic on.
Thank you, sir.
All right, so you have in front of you kind of the current status of the animal control project. we were on the schedule to meet with Craig and the mayor before the developments happened last month. So we have been pushed back a little bit. Basically, where we stand is we need to get back on that schedule. We think we've given some time out of respect for our former mayor. So we're ready to push forward on that. We know it was one of his big goals was to get this done. So it's still obviously at a priority project for us. Basically, we've worked with Craig's team. We've looked at Franklin County's design. We've looked at numerous designs around the Middle Tennessee area, trying to make it as economical as possible, but at the same time as functional as possible. Again, working with Craig and his team and really trying to hone in on what their absolute necessities are for the design and, check those boxes first. And then, where we can obviously make his life a little bit easier, a little bit more efficient, try to fit those in as we can. You can see the first page there. It's the current floor plan as it stands. Again, it hasn't been reviewed by Craig yet in depth. So we want to basically get that on his calendar, get it in front of him, and have like that formal review process and sit down and talk through the design. Currently, where it stands, all in, all done, would be 54 to 56 total runs. That would be, it's kind of in the target range that Craig and the team were initially shooting for. So we've been able to make some accommodations here and there, and we feel like we're in a pretty good spot to keep moving forward. But obviously, again, we want to get that end user blessing and make sure we're headed in the right direction. First page is that floor plan. It's got the areas on it. You can see up the top the number of runs. Second page, you look at the elevations and some rough three-dimensional kind of concept images. Again, haven't been reviewed and approved by Craig and the team yet, but that's our next goal to move forward with that. Would be go on the schedule and get that formal review started. Any questions, comments, concerns, anything?
So the dark area is what you're gonna do first, and then the
Correct.
light one is the second
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
stages?
ma'am. That's correct. Phase 2 would be that future to the kind of north of the top of the sheet. Is where that would be. We did reduce that covered sally port, the enclosed sally port, down to it's basically a covered drop off now. We can enclose it with some fencing. It'd be a much more economical solution for Craig. While not quite as nice as an enclosed sally port, he could shut the door and not have to worry about anything. Still be functional and still help us move in the direction of our budget.
What is the elevated area with the windows on it on the very front?
That's just to let some natural daylight in, sir, into that kind of, as you can look at the floor plan there, the front of the facility is kind of your public facing front of house. Trying to bring in some more natural light and just give that a nicer feel. Let some sunlight spill in. But yeah, again, hasn't been reviewed or approved or anything like that, so. Still up
But
for
that
review.
would be a heating and cooled area, right?
Correct, it would be conditioned,
Looks
yes,
to
sir.
me like you're adding a whole lot of utility cost and wasted space.
It
My
is-
first
yeah, it is,
impression with that design.
certainly. is
Unless it
something we're
was
looking at.
actually a floor level
No, sir.
with administrative or something in there.
No, sir, it is a single-story facility.
Okay.
Again, obviously looking at life cycle cost and operational cost of the facility.
Is this wooden truss or is this metal truss building?
TBD, right now, we're thinking metal trusses. I think ultimately it's gonna depend on, one, availability, and two, budget, sir. But currently, we're thinking reinforced concrete block and metal trusses. So, any other questions?
Anybody got any questions? So we're gonna absorb this and then, get back with you on
Yeah,
that.
absolutely, sir.
That's what I'd like for us to do.
Absolutely.
All right?
If anybody has any questions in the meantime, feel free to reach out.
Do you have any, who does the, we have here for, is Scott St. John here? Okay, are you with him on the health department too? Okay. And new business, and we still have, that,
If I may, the health department status, the area director from Tennessee State Health Department, Pam Browning, is retiring, and I had a sit-down meeting with her replacement, and they assured me that we're pretty much operating at the mercy of the state and the federal government's ARP rules, and we are moving forward with that, but it's going to require a meeting in the very near future, and hopefully that'll take place in the first week of May.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to have something added to the minutes. The old courthouse, we've got some mold trouble up there. I don't know if we've got a leak or it's the HVAC or something, but there's been concern about mold in the old courthouse. And I know Rick's not here. He'll be here next month, so just like to have that noted down as something for us to look at, getting that taken care of.
I believe Chad Parton's here, if he would like to come up here and talk to us about this, section that we added to our agenda tonight. That kind of addresses this thing too, I believe, somewhat. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. We'll sit on this side. It's my best side for the audience. So some humor in this a little bit.
That was good.
What you have before you, Chief, can I see your copy there? So, for those of you that may not know, many years ago, at that time, Representative Judd Matheny and I collaborated together for a short time to find a piece of land that the county was looking for to build jail and justice center on. I pointed out to Representative Matheny at the time some acreage that belongs to the U.S. federal government here on Highway 55 between Manchester and Tullahoma. During that time, there was a little conversation about it, but it fell through, and land was bought south of Manchester, where the jail currently sits. Since that time, Mayor Matheny at the time, we rejuvenated this conversation, and we may have an opportunity to work towards the county acquiring this property just past the landfill. And with the conversations I've had with Washington, D.C. in person, we wanted to start the process here. I know this was on the agenda back in February, and we put that off. I met with the AEDC Community Council, gave them our presentation, and just kind of let the base know that, hey, this is open and out in the public now, and that we're going to be pursuing trying to obtain this property for use of county government. What we would like to do in the future is secure this land, hopefully by surplus, and have it transferred to our possession for the future growth. Phase one would be courthouse, justice center, and administrative sheriff's office and court officers. Sometime maybe phase two, this whole building could go back on the books, get it back into private hands. And now that a lot of the property around this building has been developed and things are kind of blossoming on this end of town, this would be some revenue that would come into the county. We would look at potentially district attorney general's offices, public defender's offices. Those are state paying revenue offices that would, generate revenue. Would not be a monstrous amount of revenue, but it'd be more than what we're getting now. But so this is the first step, members. As you can see, our judiciary all members of the judiciary, including myself and Madam Clerk Anthony, have signed this letter, and I'm making a formal request to this committee that we go before, if this board or committee approves it, it would go before the whole legislative body to be discussed. If the whole legislative body approves it, then this would be forwarded more than likely to Senator Blackburn and Congressman Scott Desjardins, who have been working on having the conversations with us about the property. It's a good piece of property. It's probably some of the best property on the reservation. It's going to be accessible for the future for the citizens of Tullahoma, Manchester, and rural Coffee County. 4-lane highway, utilities are there, or within very close proximity. It's within the boundaries of annexation for the city of Manchester, so your courts would be in the county seat of Manchester. It just toenails in to exactly what we need, and it's like I explained to the members of the Air Force. They've got 47,000 acres, and they've had for, since World War II. Some of us sitting here at this table's families lost land to that cause. I know I've got family members' land that's under the lake. I think Mayor Hunt. Some other was displaced from a farm there close by, and that's okay. But the base is using approximately 2,300 acres to 2,500 acres for the testing facility, and the rest of it is just there. And yes, the bases, the Air Force and the Department of Defense are good partners. They're our largest employer in the county. I recognize that. But of the 47,000, we're looking at 140 to 150 acres that lies outside the containment fence. And actually, you'll see this news article that I've attached from Wednesday, April 11th, 2012. That's the general proximity of when this county commission purchased the land where the jail's at. Until some of us kind of brought it out to them, they didn't realize they had it. I mean, the folks that control the reservation boundaries knew, but the commanders and the upper command staff didn't really know they had it, and they went out right after that, and they advertised to the general public about this land for development. So we go again from 2012 to 2024, here in April of 2024, and there's still not been a request for that land or any inquiries of usage for it. So yes, we are re-stimulating that idea, and we would really like to utilize our availability and avenues that we have to obtain that land for our future. And we all know buildings cost a lot of money, but they're not getting cheaper at all. And it'll give us an opportunity to consolidate a whole lot of things. I told Mayor Hunt today, I said, our current highway superintendent will, probably not in his tenure ask for a new highway garage or an expansion, but they've been in that same building over there since the late 40s, early 50s on Walker Street, and it's if there's anybody that's in dire need of something, it's going to be the highway department in the future. But you could take all of county government, sell this, get it back on the books, and this body has done a great job of I guess.
Mr. Parton, I got a
Sir.
question.
Yes, sir.
What would be the overall plan for the jail, the courthouse, the highway department? I mean, what's the plan for all that?
So that plan would be the first move you would want to do is acquire the property, which will take some time. Then you've got a pleasant problem on your shoulders of what to do with the land. So we are going to have you just brought up a situation that is a major problem at the current Justice Center, mold. Commissioner, that building, that hull is a 1932 hull. It was the old Coffee County Gymnasium that you're very well aware of. It was never designed to have floors built in it, and the ventilation in that building it's never been good. And it's really not been good since we renovated the second time and went in with the new courtrooms that are there. And
I was kind of more, more about the jail situation.
the
which is right now.
jail would stay where it's at. So what would happen, Commissioner, is being that new Justice Center, if the new courtrooms come in, the administrative offices of the sheriff's office would go to that location. The jail would stay from the jail administrator down, and this is conversation for way down the road, but that's the vision, that would stay. That would give more enhanced security, daily security there at that location with the courts, because our courts are going to expand. They're going to expand. And having, with us right now, we're way out on the south end of town. Where we used to be joined together, we went backwards 40 years when we separated those two buildings, when we separated the courthouse and the jail. That would put us back together there because we're always there during the day. There's always personnel there during the day, and that's really going to enhance the security for the courts and availability. And that would allow the jail to have the room and the growth that they're going to need in the future. It's going to give them training rooms, classrooms. We really have nothing out there. We've got 2 little rooms out there that you might put 8 to 10 people in, and there's nowhere to go. It'll give them a lot more elbow room to do the things they need to do. But like I said, that's way down the road. There's also the possibility, and I will go on and say it because this is going to come out. There's options out here right now being spoke about amongst mayors and sheriffs in a regional area, and it's also somewhat being talked about on the state level. But the need for juvenile housing is something that this state is really hurting in. And I know Mayor Matheny, when he first came into office in the Mayor's Association, that was one of the first things that he got hit with by other mayors. What are we going to do for the future of juvenile lockup? Because nobody really wants to take it on. And we've got locations that are starting to die out. And juvenile crime is on the rise, violent juvenile crime. You've got the potential down the road someday, if you wanted to do another jail out there and put it all together, that's fine. You've got the possibility to create a regional authority to have juvenile housing. You've also got the availability that on the state level of the criminal mental health.
But like the biggest thing, like getting some of this government property back into taxpayers' hands so they can, you're talking about this building.
Right.
And the Justice Center.
Justice Center, you would be able to surplus that, sell it off. You've got some other properties that you would be able to entangle into this property, and it is a property of a size that it would last way beyond anybody's lifetime that's in this room. And it's Manchester and Tullahoma are already touching. The growth is going to go, and it's already off the books. It's already in the government's hands, so we're not getting anything off of it now where it's at. And that would allow us to get this back on the books, get some other buildings back and properties back on the books. And I know it's that's a endeavor way down the road, but if we get to talking about, if we have an expansion of EMS, if we have an expansion of fire, rescue, whatever it may be, it's the most centralized location in all of Coffee County and access to all parts of the county quickly. It's just laid there. And if we've got this opportunity, I'd hate for this body not to seize that opportunity to get their hands on it.
How much land are we talking?
It's Commissioner, if we draw it out and measure it on the internet, which is not real detailed, I'm gonna say somewhere between 130 to 150 acres. But you would actually have to go walk it and draw it out. In this press release, I think they mentioned 140 to 150. When I draw it out, I've always hit around 132, but I'm having to do it off of a satellite imagery, so
Yeah,
it's
they got
not.
152 on there.
Yeah. But it is a great tract of land, and we've not gotten anything out of it in way over close to 80 years now, if not longer.
And supposedly this land doesn't have any wetlands in it.
That's what they say.
And this land would be donated to the county with no stipulations.
So what the procedure would be, Jimmy, is now the Air Force, there's a multitude of ways. Now, we've been to another meeting, and it's not that's not the program we're looking at. But now, if we were wanting this for economic development, if we were wanting it for to do industrial park or something, then we would have to go through the step-by-step process with the federal government to do a fair market value purchase. That's not what we're looking at. We're looking at government transferring to government,
Or the in-kind.
or
like
the
they-
in-kind.
They would do an in-kind if the value to whatever the government would receive in-kind, such as like daycare, the availability of having daycare. If we'd done industrial park out there and the county developed a daycare facility out there, allowing the base personnel to access and use that as in-kind.
And that is a large topic with them right now, is employee daycare. How much of that I don't know. The Air Force, we've only got 20 to 30 full-time Air Force personnel, uniformed personnel on that base at any given time. So that's what the Pentagon's really going to look at, because the rest of it's contractors, and that's a conversation on their side. But what our goal is to get this land surplused by the Department of Defense, and that's going to take a little persuasion, and it can be done. Where our county industrial park is right now, out on Hillsborough Highway, that was until the interstate came through and cut that off.
Have we done our due diligence on getting out there and checking for environmental stuff?
Well, we're not even,
I mean,
but it is
That
not,
would
it is
be
not, as far as.
According to them, Jimmy, they don't. The meeting Sheriff and I attended, and Mayor Hunt did. They have the plats out there to show what's
There's no
got
ordinance, there's no
possibility
ordinances.
of any environmental things or anything like that. And there were several sites out there that was applicable to having no environmental issues or anything like that, and that being one of them.
And the beauty of this one is it's outside the containment fence. Most time if there's something that's environmental problem or an live ordinance training problem, it's generally inside that fence. We've had a couple, it's just been farmed, and all these years it's just been row cropped. And it is a beautiful tract of land once you get on it and walk it out. But
Any other
we have just, folks, we have just absolutely totally outgrown our Justice Center and the safety protocols and the daily traffic we're having in those courts.
I've been in the Justice Center more than I want to be in there, because it is full of mold in the bottom where they do all the storage for the files right now, and we're never going to get rid of those files.
It was great. 1982 was the greatest thing since
Yeah.
sliced bread. That jail and the way they set that up, it was the show dog of the state. But we've just outlived it, and there's some structural integrity issues. I know from times past, especially that big room over the current lobby has been
Correct.
it's been declared don't be putting any weight in it. But we've band-aided and am I looking to build a jail? No, I don't want y'all to think that we're looking to build another jail. These would just be administrative offices of the sheriff. But you've got enough room down the road. If we get some kind of great offer made to us for the current facility, either by the state or something juvenile-wise, then they may take.
I know y'all had talked about that, selling it before to the state.
Yeah, and those conversations are still real. Matter of fact, this legislative session has been nothing but talked about juvenile issues and mental health issues. And regionally and geographically, where it's located, it's prime spot. But I don't want to talk about building another jail until we're well on our way, that everybody's happy and everything's moving forward. Mr. Brown would sure like to draw that one up.
Any other questions?
If I may, Capital Outlay Committee, their purpose and responsibilities is to oversee the design and construction and maintain real properties of Coffee County government. This acquisition of property, I'm not totally convinced it would have to go through this committee, but Mayor Matheny wanted it to. It's just one more stamp of approval that I think makes the argument real, that we want to pursue that. So out of this committee, I would just like to see, as mayor, a motion to approve the pursuit of this tract of land from the United States Air Force.
And so far, it's not costing you anything to
Look.
ask,
Right,
and
exactly.
it's not. And we might get lucky, and they may say, "Hey, you're
More than welcome.
more than welcome," and that might right some craziness that's happened here in the last 25 or 30 years.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve the tract land to see if we are able to get it.
Second.
Got a motion by Tina and second by,
To
By
approve
Frank.
the pursuit of acquisition of land from the Air Force government. Okay.
the motion's been made and seconded, and all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
So are you gonna pursue that for us?
I've been pursuing that since the week before April 11th, 2012.
you go. All right, thank you. We appreciate your time. We know that you're very busy.
Is that land being rented now, Sheriff?
Yes, sir. Chris Davis had been farming it for a couple of years now. The Tennessee Wildlife is the property managers for the Air Force Reservation, so they're the ones that have been putting out the bids for it. And I think another local farmer has gotten it, but there's not been I'm sure a new crop is probably fixing to go on it, but nothing had been planted as of today. But it's just been rented out, along with several other properties they have throughout the base that are still being used for row crop purposes.
I wonder if they lease that out by the year or
They
3 year, what?
It was at one time a 3, and then it might have went a 5, but I think they're back to a 3-year. And you just submit a bid per acre,
Yeah.
and for that amount of time.
All right. Thank you. Any more new business?
I'd like to make a comment. Rick Susi, our maintenance director, is on vacation this week. He generally gives a report regarding all the little fix-its and issues he's had. But my comment is that for those listening or in the audience that did not understand, I was chairman of this committee, and the recent turn of events that propelled me to the office of mayor, I felt like I should resign from this committee, especially since I chaired it, and I did not think that I should be steering this committee with the dynamics of the health department and the animal control facility that's under design and construction. So therefore, I resigned, and the vacancy was filled in our last meeting by an individual that has far more construction-based experience than I feel like any of us on this committee, and that would be Mr. Terry Hirschman. And I certainly welcome him to this committee, and I think Coffee County government is in good hands with this capital outlay committee as staffed at this time. And that's all I needed to say. Thank you.
Yeah, there's a good group of people here on this committee for sure. Well, thank you for that. So we need to set a date for the next meeting.
Believe it's May
If I
1st.
may, the Coffee County calendar, this is a monthly meeting. Coffee County's calendar has this meeting posted forever, just about, the
Yeah.
first Thursday.
Just leave it on that.
Yeah, it's not required that you set a date, it's already set.
So
Yeah.
that'll be
I was
so that'll be
mistaken, May
Thursday,
2nd.
May 2nd.
Yep. It is set on May the 2nd at 4 PM. And the location will be here in this room.
Yes, sir.
I just need a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Anything else? Well, is there anything else before we do that?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion been made, seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion ended.